So the last week we learned the solving equations add and subtract, and today we're going to see the questions on multiply and divide. Okay, so and as I mentioned to you, so equations are pretty important, and the reason behind is this is where your stepping stones for us starts in. Basically, all the algebra is based on the whatever we're learning right now, and once you're good at this one, obviously you're going to do really good in the coming days too. So if you look at it, so when you solve the equations, how do we apply multiply and divide? So when you solve the equations, you always remember you're going to do the opposite. Okay? If you have a plus, you're going to subtract. If you have a minus, then you're going to add. So it's always think on that way. It's like always you're going to apply the inverse operation. Now, if you look at this question, first, whenever you have equations, you look for the variable. So the letter here is K. So this is one I want to isolate. Okay, that's what I'm solving for. So when you do this one, the simple way I'm going to write it down here so you can see it, -4 equal K over -5. So what number you divide by -5, you get -4. In a mental math, you can do it really faster, but I want you to follow these steps. That way, when you do the bigger questions, you follow the steps and you can get answers faster. So when you do solve this question, and then I can see definitely this is my variable right here. I want to keep that. I don't want this number underneath. So it's basically we're dividing, right? -5 is dividing. So what's the opposite of division? Multiplication. So you're going to multiply by -5. Okay? So multiply by -5, again, it's a balance. If you multiply one side, you have to multiply the other side too. So I'm going to multiply here also. -5. You see that, what I did here? Since I want to get rid of the -5 in the denominator, I multiply -5 on the numerators on both sides. So I can cross out this. Because -5 divided by -5 is 1, so I'm going to left with only the letter. But this side, negative times negative is a positive. 5 times 4, that's 20. So the K value has to be a 20. Or I can go back and check it. Now the K over -5, K is 20 I got, divided by -5. So 20 divided by 5 is 4, but positive divided by negative is negative. So it's -4. See that? That's matching. So that means we did it correctly. Okay. In a simple words, if you have a division, you're going to multiply. If it is a multiply, you're going to divide. Okay. All right. Let's do some practice on these type of questions, so you can get some idea in there. So solve each equation, and then we can check these answers. So checking the solution is basically what we did at the end. Okay. Let's go try this one, and then we will check on this. Let's do this. Since it is a divide, the 5 is dividing the p, so I'm going to multiply by 5. So I can write it one more time just pretty quickly, but otherwise you don't need to write it. So my variable is here, and I want to get rid of this denominator, which is 5. I'm going to multiply by 5. So if I multiply by 5 this side, I have to multiply by 5 on the other side too. See that? And cross this out, and then p equal, that's 50. Now checking, now when you check it, basically in place of the letter, you're going to replace that. So p means 50 over 5. So 50 goes in 5 like 10 times. So you got the right answer. Okay, that's how you check it. All right, next one, solving equation using division. Before the last two questions, we multiplied by, and then we solved it. Now in this case, 7x equals 56. So I'm going to write it down quickly. 7x equals 56. And then I see this one, my letter or the variable is right here. I want to isolate the variable. I want to find the value of x. So then I see this one, 7x means 7 times x. Remember that. 7x means 7 times x. That's what it means. So it's, even though you don't write that little multiplication sign there, it's still 7 there. So it's a multiplication. What's the opposite of multiplication? Division. So you need to divide here. If I divide here, I need to divide it the other side also. So 7, 7 cross out. I end up with x. So 756 goes in 7, 8 times. And then if I want to check it, my question says 7x. So 7 times x is 8. So 7 times 8 is 56. So that's what I got. So it's good. That's what we did correctly. Okay. Let's try these 2 questions. All right, let's check this one. So the first one, obviously your letter here, I'm going to write it down one more time. As we move on, I'll start kind of like minimize the steps. But right now at the beginning, I'm going to write it. So we're looking to find the value of the C. And but the 4 is this right next to it. It's 4C means 4 times. Since it is 4 times, I'm going to divide it by 4. And when we divide it, we have to divide it on the both sides. So if I cross this out, C, 16 divided by 4, that's a 4. And then if you want to check it, check. 16 equal 4 times C. C is 4. So it's 4 times 4 is 16. And this is also 16. So it's good. Okay, so that's the checking. And coming to this question, and what number do we need to divide by? By 0.5. And then y equal 10 divided by 0.5, or you can write it this one, 10 divided by 5 times 10, because 0.5 means you can write it 5 over 10, and you can cross this out. That's negative 20. So the first one we multiplied, and the second one we divide. Now this one, the number 3, we're using the bulk, basically. So for example, if you look at this question right here, I have 5 nines of the variable is 35. So in order to, okay, first of all, I'm going to look for my variable right here. I need to isolate that letter. So I need to get rid of the 5 nines. What I can do here, since it is a fraction, I can multiply by, it says it's 5 over 9, right? Its inverse is going to be 9 over 5. If this is 5 over 9, I'm going to multiply by 9 over 5. If I multiply one side, obviously I have to multiply by the other side too. You see that? And let's reduce it. 5 on top, 5 on the bottom, cross out. 9 goes in 9 one time. And I left with the E, which is the letter. Now here, I can reduce it. So I think it's 5 goes in 35 7 times, and 7 times. That's it. Okay, let's try the next question. And look for the variable, see how we can isolate the variable to get the answer. Let's try that. Now in this question right here, what I can do, I see the variable is like y here. So that's what I want to get. I want to keep that and then get rid of the rest of the fraction. So it's, I'm going to write it one more time. It's a little bigger so I can see it. So this is my variable. And since I have a 4 over 3, I'm going to multiply with the reciprocal. I'm going to multiply by 3 over 4 times here, and then 3 over 4 this way too. You can cross 3, 4 goes in 4, so I'll have to multiply. And then here you can reduce it if you can. If not, just multiply them. 3 times 5 is 15 over 8. Yeah, so you can write a fraction or you can write a mixed number, whatever you like to. It depends on the answer, whatever you have, whatever they have. So this time I'm not going to write and then more steps on this one. I'm going to make it simple. So first of all, I look for the variable. It's right here. And I see the fraction 1/5. So I multiply by 5/1. You see that? 1/5 is reciprocal is 5/1. So if I multiply 5/1, I have to multiply 5/1 here. Does that make sense? Now here, 5 goes in 5 one time, or 1 goes in 1, that's it. And I'm left with the b equal. And then you multiply on top, and then multiply on the bottom. Because fractions multiplication is simple. Multiply the numerators, multiply the denominators. And then positive times negative is negative. 5 times 1 is 5/4. That's it. 5/4. Or you can write a 1/4. Okay. So that's first. And second one, and I see the letter first. This is right here. I have a 4/6. So I'm going to multiply by 6/4. Okay. So you can cross 6. 6 goes in 6 one time, and 4 goes in 4 one time. All I have is J letter. And then here I can multiply it, or you can reduce it, however you want to. So 2 goes in 4 2 times. 3 goes in 6 2 times. And then 2 divided by 2, that's 1. J value is 1. You can always go back and check also. So if I go back and plug it in here, I should get the same answer too. In this question says the total cost is $192, but they're a group of 16 kids. And then we're finding the cost for the one kid. Per child means one kid. So obviously you know 192 divided by 16, you'll get the answer. But that's not the point. Here is write the equation. Write. That's what is important. So writing is simple. So you know 16 kids in there. 16 times per child, cost per child. Let's say the cost is C dollars. So C dollars gives you 192. Now it looks like an equation. That's what we did. Now you know this is a variable. Now 16 is next to it. So your opposite of 16 is you divide 16 both sides. So whatever you do one side, you have to do the other side. So the letter C is going to be whatever you do divided 92. 192 divided by 16. What's the equation? So in this one, orange contains 80 milligrams of vitamin, which is 10 times as much as apple. So write an equation for the amount of the vitamin C in the apple. So obviously, the vitamin C, it's 80 milligrams in the orange, okay, which is 10 times as much of the apple. So 10 times apple vitamin C, which is 80 milligrams. So what you need to do, since it's a multiplication, its inverse is division. So let's divide by 10. So you're going to get 8 milligrams of vitamin C in the apple. Okay? So apple has 8 milligrams and oranges have 80 milligrams of vitamin C. Right. In this question, and x divided by 3 is 15, but the student gave the answer as x is 5. And there is an error. So explain what is the mistake he did and what can be the right answer. Let's try this. So the next one, this is one of the researchers also says, the person right here in the picture is the tallest person. Yeah, he is like 8 feet 11. So it's just like 8 feet or 0.1 inches. It's like almost like you need to look at him like this. And he also has a world record in longest hands. So that's crazy to see that.
Wait, what? Yes.
Okay. So there are 18 students. The mean is 60 is given to you. Now we need to find out the total measure. So that's what we are finding. So the total measure is the mean is found by dividing the sum data values by the number of values. But mean is given to you already. So if we're finding the total, all you have to do is mean times number of students. So that's total is going to be mean is 60 times 18. That's going to be the total. This one says, which equation below is the correct first step to solve the 3x equal -12? Since it is a multiplication, you need to divide them. So when you divide them, that's the circle. That's good. So in this question, the regular pentagon. Regular means all the angles are same. Same length and same angles is called regular. But the total is given 540. If you add all of them, it's 540. And we need to find out how much is each. Okay, so let's say, think about the question. Let's say you have $50. You have $50, but you have 5 people. Okay, 5 people here. And how much each person is going to get? The same thing here too. The total is 540, and then you know 5 angles are there, and how much is each angle? That's the question is. What are you supposed to do? 540 is total angle, and then each angle has to be smaller than that. So it can't be a multiplication, so it has to be divide. But how we divide it? So 540 divided by 5. But which equation that represent out of these? Because 5x is 540, and obviously the first step is divided by 5 on both sides. Then you can get that each angle is how much. Okay. All right, this is another test question. For which equation m is going to be 10 as a solution? So that's right. So here, m divided by 2, obviously the step is going to be multiplied by 2. So when you multiply it, that's going to be 10. So the m value is going to be 10. Okay, that's good. It's 4, 2p equals 4, then find the value of 6p plus 10. And this is one of the SAT questions. And when you go to the high school, when you take the SAT, this is one of the questions you normally see in that test. So how do we do this one? First, use these 2p equals 4. Find out what is the p value. So first you multiply this one from here. You divide it by 2. That's going to be p is 2. And then you take this one and then you plug it in here. So that's going to be 6 times 2 plus 10. Which one should I do? Times or addition? Times, because we learned already PEMDAS rules. So 6 times 2 is 12 plus 10, that's 22.
24. Oh, 22.
22, yep, that's it.